Welcome everybody to the April Steering Committee meeting. I want to start off by saying on our opioid deaths in February we had 5 deaths, 2 suicides. In March we had 12 deaths and 2 suicides. So we had our best, I don't know how to say that, it's not best anything, but a very good thing that we only had 5 deaths, but then it shot back up again. So we still got a lot of work to do. I'm going to go ahead and talk about the opioid committee real quick. We have gotten our money that come in. We have right now $2 million in our account, and we're going to start with a partnership with Middle Tennessee State University Data Analytics Department, and those contracts will be coming out this Thursday, and we will start interviewing people and start distributing money. All right. That's my stuff. Let's go to the agenda. Let's start off by approving minutes, and I'll call on Chairman Reed.
Mr. Chairman, I have already gone through the minutes and looked at those. I have not found anything out of order, so I'm going to make the motion that they be approved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Next, we have confirmed Judicial Commissioner Arielle Cooper. Is she here? Come on up, please. Just state your name and tell us a little bit about yourself. How you say your first name? Arielle. Arielle, okay. Hold on. Okay, go.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Arielle Cooper. I'm currently a deputy court clerk with the Smyrna General Sessions Court. I'm also pursuing my bachelor's degree in criminal justice administration, and I'm minoring in psychology and sociology. I'll be going into my senior year in the fall. Before I was working full-time, I was a part of the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office Explorer Post for about 5 years. And then when I was still in high school, I was a part of the criminal justice pathways, and I did Skills USA for criminal justice as well. So, thank you.
Any questions? Thank you. Do I have a motion to confirm?
So moved.
I have a motion. Second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Let's move on. Next is to confirm Adam Dodd for the Rutherford County Records Commission. Is Mr. Dodd here? No. No? Okay. Do I have a motion to confirm him?
So moved.
And a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, next is Juvenile Detention Board report and lobbyist update. The mayor's not here. What'd you say he's at?
He's in Readable.
He's in Readable helping with the tornado effort. So we'll move that off till next. Next on there is our HR report. Sonia, come on up.
Good evening, everyone. So it should be on your iPad. The snapshot is what we're looking at, and there are already some numbers in April, but I'm only doing March because we're doing the month that's already passed, and these numbers are through March 26th. So again, like I tell you each month, if these are not the final numbers, we'll update those the next month. Some of the items that are of most importance is for ADA, we had 5 different activities involving providing services to those individuals that were hearing impaired, whether it be in a court setting. We're also helping someone who is in probation, so we brought somebody in to help them get through their probation process for their classes that they have to take. Personnel changes, we had 13 personnel changes, and that involves promotions or transfers or things of that nature. We didn't have any any audits this month. We are preparing for, in the hopes that during the budget process we may be able to get approval to do some things with our files. So we're not doing any audits right now, but during the budget process you'll probably hear more about that. Benefits, we had 12 different items. We unfortunately lost some county employees and some retirees this year, this month, so we had 4 of those individuals that we provided grief assistance to their families. We've done some sick leave donations and some retirement applications for individuals as well. Under community involvement, there were 4 different activities that we participated in. I try to make sure that my department is involved in the community, whether it's, with the chamber or whether it's doing things in the schools. We're actually going to some job fairs at the schools this month. Several schools have reached out to us, so we'll be doing some things like that this month. Events, we had 203 participants. One of the biggest participants was our meal packing event. We had 195 employees, county commissioners, constitutional officers, and Board of Education employees that came together to pack 57,000 meals to put back into our community. We did that in the month of March. That was our major activity. We had 123 leave criterias, with the majority of those leaves being FMLA. We have 88 individuals on FMLA right now, and the others are for military. We've seen an uptick in our military leave. We've got 18 individuals out on military. Legal services, those are just things that we do, such as if there's an ADA concern or Title VI concern or anything that requires an investigation. We had 9 of those activities. 12 individuals were part of the offboarding process, 2 of which were the active employees I mentioned earlier who passed away, and then we had some resignations and retirements. Onboarding, we had 75 activities. 53 of those were salary evaluations, and 19 of those were new hires. Our new hires are down this month, but I anticipate they'll pick up because we've got several openings. We've got, I believe, 95 openings right now. Policy changes, we had 34 of those. We've been looking at job description revisions. Every time we post a job, we make sure that we look at it to make sure nothing's changed, technology or whatever, and we've had 2 new job descriptions made in anticipation of the budget process. Promotions, there were 9 different activities, and this is where the community reaches out to us, wants to do financial counseling. We also have our 401k and our 457B provider come in and sit down with employees. We do that every month. He's here all day, 1 day a month, to meet with individuals and go over their financial planning. Recruitment, we had 919 different opportunities. 377 of those were applications that we received and referred, 108 declination letters, 53 interviews, and 22 postings during the month of March. Reports, we did 420 different reports. Of those reports, we had 289 open records requests, which is probably the #1 reports that we get, and we had 64 Title VI inquiries as well, so that's pretty big for that as well. Special projects, we have 14 special projects. Social media is one of our projects where we try to keep HR-related items out on either the counties where we're sending it to the PIO for posting on the county's website, or we do it on LinkedIn ourselves within ours. And so we had those. Also, just working on, did some updates to the opioid application was one of the items that we did this month as well. Workflows for our department, so several different activities. We had 93 evaluation and testings, and those are primarily for new hires, physicals, MMPIs, things of that nature. Title VI, we had 64 of those with where we provide interpreters not only for the courts but also for sessions like probation or recovery court or the departments. And with the primary language still being Spanish, we provided services for Quran, Laotian, Uzbek, Arabic, and Swahili this past month. And our final item is training. We did trained 459 employees on different training topics, with the primary ones being business ethics, drug-free workforce, HIPAA, and sexual harassment were our primary targets for this year. For this month, excuse me, misspoke. And I have other information about staffing if anybody has any questions about that, but otherwise, that's my report.
Any questions? Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I have one question. On the new hires, I know 75 for March versus 131 for
Well, it's always harder for our public safety, and I only say that just because of their sheer numbers. You know, the public safety departments are probably 75% of our employee population, so when you're looking at the law enforcement, ambulance, and fire, those are going to be ones that we have a harder time. We seem to be able to easily hire for our fire department. That doesn't seem to be an area that we have trouble staffing, but our corrections is always a difficult department, whether it be JDC, Correctional Work Center, or the jail, and then also law enforcement are the hardest hit. We do have 95 active vacancies right now within the county in various, and I think I did put that on your SharePoint. You should have two different slides on there. One shows the postings that we've done this month, I keep saying this month, and how many applicants have applied. That's on should be on your SharePoint, and it's a two-part and tells you how many vacancies and how long that position has been vacant. So I've tried to put that out there to give you some additional information should you want it.
I really think that the safety is just a common problem because in a recent conversation with Major Roy Brown with THP, they're having a problem, recruiting people.
They're not having problems, did you say?
I'm sorry?
Did you say they are? Or
They
are
are.
They
having,
are,
yeah.
oh, okay.
And the governor just, his budget has allocated, I think, 100 and something more new troopers. And, they're having an extremely hard time filling that. Motion to approve the report.
Have a motion to have a second. Second, Commissioner Beverly. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I could ask before Ms. Stevens leaves.
Go ahead.
I can't remember how long you've been with the county, 15 years?
Yes, sir. Celebrated my 15th year, November 19th.
And it's been about that long since the topic of retirement has probably even been discussed. What I remember years ago, the reason I'm bringing this up because county insurance is not under a microscope, but it's kind of under a magnifying glass right now as to how we're going to perform over the next couple of years. The county was considering dropping the county-funded retirement fund and going to the state fund 15 years ago when you were brand new with the county. And correct me if I'm heading up a bad
Well,
path.
we're on the state's retirement plan already. TCRS is part of the state consolidated, so that's pretty much any municipality, county, or nonprofit like Consolidated Utilities, Smyrna Airport Authority, Community Care can participate. As far as I know, we've been part of TCRS since 1978-ish, I'm guessing. It's in that ballpark somewhere, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Yeah, she worked at the health department. She sure did.
Is there a difference at all between a county employee's retirement plan and the state retirement plan? Are they identical?
It depends. So I'll give an attorney answer. Didn't you like that, Nick? I threw that in. It depends. So the state a couple of years ago put out a new plan. It's called a hybrid, which organizations have the ability to participate in if they so chose. It is different. It's a different benefit, not quite as robust as the legacy plan, which was what the plan was initially called whenever they changed over. So any of their employees who were on that plan, the legacy plan, when they put it in place, and I want to say that's probably been, well, it's been every bit of 6 years ago, I'm guessing, because I know Mayor Burgess was the mayor at that time, that they put that plan in place. It could be a little bit longer than 6, but I'm thinking around 6, 7 years. So if an employee or an organization was already part of the legacy plan, they had to grandfather all of those employees in the legacy plan. And then any new hires moving forward would be in the hybrid plan. Now, that's how it is at the state of Tennessee now for their teachers and their employees, and then other organizations if they so choose to participate. The cost sharing is a little bit different, but in some instances it can be the same as what we're paying. Rutherford County has been blessed in that we are fully funding ours for the most part, as we go along. So other entities were not doing that always. So we've always done a little bit more than is expected. So if a rainy day came in, then we wouldn't be caught, kind of off guard. So I don't know if that answered your question, but it's the same exact plan for the grandfathered, but there is another option for anybody moving forward. You couldn't do it to anybody. You couldn't make the change to anybody existing, but you could make it for new hires.
So anyone that transferred from Rutherford County to Wilson County, as an example, would have the identical plan that they had in Rutherford County?
If that organization, so I'll give you an example. This is just one that I know. Coffee County quit participating with TCRS. They did a self-funded plan. So kind of like we have self-funded insurance, they have a self-funded pension plan, which I think they're considering going back to TCRS. It's a little bit harder to manage than people realize. Right. So if somebody left here and went to Coffee County, then they would have to be on their plan, unless they were a prior Coffee County employee who was under the legacy plan, and they left and came to Rutherford County under the legacy. If they went back, they would still be on the legacy plan because they're grandfathered. So it still kind of depends on whether that organization participates or not, because there are a handful, not many, that do not participate in TCRS, that do. The City of Murfreesboro, they have their own plan, but they're actually looking to go to TCRS under the plan that we're under as a recruiting tool. So it would kind of... if we're already having a hard time recruiting and then we take our pension away and one of our sister agencies that we compete for employees with goes on TCRS, that might make it even harder for us if we did something like that.
So the bottom line, from a county employee's perspective, we don't have decisions to make. They have decisions to make as it relates to the type of contribution level, those type of things.
Currently, the employees do not contribute.
So there's no decisions for the counties to make. We just pay a particular portion to the state fund.
Whatever, they have an actuarial study, and every year they tell us what percentage. That did go up a percentage point this year. It was 10.16 last year, and it's 11.11 this year. So it did go up, well, a little less than a point, 0.95. So, obviously, if the commission wanted to make a change, that would be within their purview to do so. I'm just saying, in light of thinking that our sister agency would be going to that might make it even harder to recruit.
Being with the state plan, we don't have a lot of decisions to make. We just get information and pay according to what the rest of the people statewide are paying, correct?
We pay what our portion is based on our retirees. So the actuarial study is done based on our current active retirees and the potential of the retirees moving forward. So anybody who's already vested, they're calculating that based upon their age and their sex, based on their longevity for life, because I can't remember if it's women live longer or men live longer, but they calculate all that in the actuarial study and then determine what amount we should pay so that moving forward, we're not in a financial situation. So currently we do that every pay period. So every pay period, the employees, the county makes a contribution to TCRS for our employees based on that pay period, based on whatever the rate is at that point in time.
So the size of the county makes a difference.
It does.
In essence, growth is also costing Rutherford County a little bit more from a retirement perspective.
I would say that would be a fair estimate, but I would also tell you that our turnover rate right now is higher than it's been in the past, and that would go into it because an employee has to stay on 5 years or more to be vested. And so with our turnover, we're not seeing people stay as long as they did in sometimes in the past. Not always, but we do have 0.25 turnover. So
it's not as big a deterrent as it used to be.
No, sir.
Any other questions?
What percentage does the employee pay into this now?
Nothing. It's fully funded by the county.
Okay, when I was paying into it, we were paying 11.75% into the fund. And one thing we can say, Commissioner Phillips, that the last information that I had, that the TCRS is one of the most actuarially sound retirement systems in the United States.
I think we're like third in the nation. Yeah, it's 98.9% funded or something like that. And the county is at 100 and, like, you have to anticipate future retirees, so we're at where we're supposed to be for that.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay,
Any
thank
other
you.
questions? Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is litigation list. Gentlemen, you have that in front of you. Is there any questions? Nick, I have a question. This is not on any particular case, but I'm just curious, and this is more for my constituents than it is me, but some of these lawsuits seem extremely frivolous and almost to a point of being ridiculous. So can you tell me how the process is that somebody files a lawsuit against us? Can you tell us the steps that you go through on this?
Yeah, happy to. Kind of established an intake process, so to speak. Every case you got to examine not just what's on the paper, but then you have to do some attorney investigation on the facts that are alleged. And of course, any plaintiff's lawsuit is going to be couched in a way that is very favorable to them. They will use words and phrases to make it sound as if the county defendants and its employees are the worst imaginable people ever. Okay, and we all know that that is not the case. And so when we review these, we do an initial claims analysis where we investigate the claims by speaking with those that are involved, whether it's a department head or individually named employees. If it requires a site visit, say for where a car accident took place, we might go out there and observe and get our own perspective on things and gather the facts, because facts are important. And when people put something on paper, that's just one side of a story, and all the facts haven't come to light yet. So that initial stage of the intake process is to see what we believe happened. From there, a determination is made of whether we have grounds immediately to file a motion to dismiss, which is basically saying, look, court, judge, if you took everything that what they're saying is true, you don't even hear from us, you don't even hear our side, but if you take what they say in their lawsuit is true, they still don't have a good claim and it should be dismissed. An example of that is in the Slaybaugh case. It's on your litigation list, where we recently filed a motion to dismiss, where we essentially argue that even if you took everything that they say is true, they still don't meet the elements of the specific claim that they are bringing, and so the lawsuit should be dismissed. However, sometimes it's not as simple as that, so we have to engage in what's called the discovery process, which is a formulaic and procedural process that involves the exchanging of written questions for either side to answer under oath. It can involve the taking of oral deposition testimony, where myself or another lawyer in my office will get witnesses to come in and answer questions under oath with a court reporter. And once we've completed all of that, and that takes time, as you can imagine. I mean, it just takes time with getting everybody's calendars lined up. There can be motion practice intermittent in between all of that, where decisions temporarily need to be made, or the judge needs to opine on something and the parties need a decision one way or the other on a procedural or a discovery issue. Once all that's completed and all the facts are out there, we have the ability to file what's called a motion for summary judgment. And that's another bite at the apple to say, look, Judge, here's what the facts are. You've heard what they're saying, and here's what we're saying. And when you look at those facts, there's no genuine dispute as to facts A, B, C, and D. And if you take A, B, and C, and D as true and undisputed, they can't meet the elements of their claim. And the court is then called upon to rule on whether the case should be dismissed at that point. If the decision is not favorable to us, then the next step would be to go to trial. So a lot of these cases, we try to get out on the front end, and we have a fairly good success rate, I think, of doing that. But sometimes it's just not feasible to get it out on the very start of it, because there has to be some sort of factual record that's developed. You can't just get it out on what they're saying. You've got to develop some facts to support your side, and then once you've done that, we try to get it out on a motion for summary judgment. I hope that explains it.
I mean, gentlemen, we're over litigation, so it's good to know the process. So, is there any questions for Nick? Is there any other business? Seeing so, we're done.